So early 2018 here, and we've entered the knockout rounds of the CONCACAF Champions League, our region's club competition. And once again, the American sides are struggling. We're only in the last 16 of the competition, and most of the American sides are out at this point. I think there are two left, and American sides have not won the competition since 2000. So there's been an 18-year drought, and oh, by the way, during that 18-year drought, guess who's been in charge and in exclusive control of USA Soccer's Division I sanction? Of course, it's been Club MLS. And this regional competition is not South America or Europe. This should be a winnable competition for a league that claims that it wants to be among the best leagues in the world, is CONCACAF. There are some decent clubs from Mexico, Costa Rica, Honduras, El Salvador, Panama, but beyond that, it's not that tall of a task. It certainly does not warrant an 18-year drought from American teams. And once again, this is an indictment on the claims of MLS Parity being so great. Everything is rigged, and the single entity is formed precisely so that everyone can have that random chance of winning the MLS Cup Championship. It's basically just a throw of the dice. Clubs are severely limited, capped, so that everyone stays on an equal playing field for the most part. But then when you send these individual MLS outlets into international club competition where they have to play unlimited independent clubs, fully fledged clubs, you see that they cannot compete, even with mid-level Mexican sides or clubs from Honduras, El Salvador. MLS sides struggle to cope with them. They struggle to cope with real club competition because they aren't clubs in reality. MLS is the club, and these are just limited franchise outlet locations of Club MLS. So some people claim that this parity is so awesome. No one cares when these MLS outlets go into real club competition and absolutely get embarrassed. People realize that this is not high-quality soccer in MLS, and it's no wonder that very few pay attention to MLS. We're busy watching authentic soccer overseas. Real clubs, real opportunity, real consequences. And we know what quality soccer is when we see it. And we know what inauthentic soccer is when we see it. And we've clearly made the statement, 93% of us, according to the US TV ratings for soccer, 93% of us prefer the authentic version of the game. Unlimited clubs, real stakes, real consequences, open access. We don't want our soccer bottled up in the U.S. sport model. It's just not going to work. And trying to force that genie back into the bottle, trying to force the awesome game of soccer into this perverted socialist U.S. sport model is just never going to work. And so if we're going to be stuck with MLS sitting in our Division I and it continuously sending its limited outlets into international club competition to be embarrassed, does it really need the Division I sanction at this point? Can it just go off and compete on its own without a divisional sanction like NFL or Major League Baseball or NBA? Can go off and do its own thing, remain untouched, and let the rest of us do real normal soccer under an open system with promotion and relegation. And we will let open leagues and real clubs use our divisional sanctions and ultimately win their way up into these regional and international competitions. So the CONCACAF Champions League and the Club World Cup. Until then, it's just going to continue to be a massive failure year after year for American sides in international competition. We just cannot compete with real clubs when we send these inauthentic MLS franchise outlets. Why does MLS need to hold on to this Division I sanction so tightly? it begs the question, if MLS can't survive without D1, like I mentioned earlier, without a D1 sanction, go off and operate on your own, be a U.S. sports league. Have at it. Knock yourselves out. But if MLS can't survive without a sanction, then it begs the question, are we making the most of our divisional sanctions? If a league organization needs the divisional sanctions in order to survive, or the Division I sanction, that's not a good sign. That means that it's a bad apple. So what we have here now is MLS just using the U.S. Soccer Division I sanction as a crutch. And what it can do is since it has exclusive control, it can create artificial scarcity in the market. I mean, they're the only ones who get a shot at D1. So, of course, by default, they're going to get a slice of the USA soccer market. It's the only show in town for Division I, and they can wield that power to snuff out any competition that could rise from the lower divisions. So if you are a club in Division IV, Division II, NASL, NPSL, UPSL, whatever other non-D1 league, wherever you're at, if you rise up and become a threat to MLS, they can wield their Division I power to essentially buy you up or stick another team in your area to try to basically freeze you out of your market. So it's a very, very unhealthy relationship that we have going on between Club MLS and our U.S. Soccer Federation. We need to divorce the two. Our U.S. Soccer Federation needs to be completely independent. It needs to reserve divisional sanctions for open leagues that want to cooperate together under a USA soccer system of promotion and relegation. Leagues just serve as containers for individual clubs, and individual clubs compete against each other and move up and down through these containers and then into these international competitions that we're talking about. So we need to get back to square one. We need a real federation. If this U.S. Soccer Federation that we have now won't shape up, won't take charge, and won't put its foot down, then what are the alternatives? We're going to need an alternate USA Soccer Federation, and we're going to need FIFA sanctioning for it so that we can set up this open access system and align USA Soccer with the essence of global soccer, which is about equality and opportunity for all. So when you wonder about where MLS stands in the global soccer scene, just look at the track record of the last 18 years. 0 regional titles. 0 CONCACAF Champions League crowns for any American side. And MLS has been in control for all of that. So MLS may claim that parity is so awesome, but what's the point when MLS sides can't compete against authentic clubs in open global competition? So if you like this video, make sure to share it out across social media and also subscribe right here to my channel. And also make sure to leave a comment with your thoughts. And I'll talk to you soon.